So, Monica challenged us to design a modern LED ring chandelier for her living room. Let's jump into Blender and see how we can bring it to life. When we start modeling in Blender, it's best to delete all the default objects from the scene. To do this, go to the Select menu and choose All, or as shown in the menu, you can use the shortcut to select everything. Once everything is selected, press Delete to remove all the objects. The 3D cursor determines where new objects will appear in your scene. It's important to keep it positioned at the origin, the beginning of the axis, to avoid issues later. To check this, press N to open the sidebar. Under the View tab, look for the 3D cursor section. Make sure the X, Y, and Z values are all set to 0. If they aren't, type 0 into each field. Next, let's add a new object. Open the Add menu, and you'll see a wide range of objects you can include in your scene. A good option for creating ring lights is to add a cylinder from the Mesh category. Finally, press the Del key on your numeric keypad to center and zoom in on the selected object for a better view. Let's expand the Add Cylinder panel, which appears on the lower left side of the screen. First, we'll set the number of vertices to 50. Increasing the vertices makes the ring appear smoother and more circular, but keep in mind it also requires more computational power. Next, we'll set the radius to 0.4 meters, giving us a total diameter of 0.8 meters for the ring. Since we want the ring to have a height of 1 centimeter, we'll set the depth to 0.01 meters. Finally, press Del again to center the view. For the cap fill type, set it to None so that only the ring remains visible. Next, press the N key to toggle the sidebar. Go to the Item tab where you'll find details about the object's location, rotation, scale, and dimensions. Since the X dimension is approximately 0.8 meters, we can now enter the exact diameter we want directly in the X dimension field. It's always a good practice to give your objects descriptive names. So, let's double-click on the cylinder in the outliner and rename it to Light Ring 80. Next, let's switch the object's interaction mode to Edit mode so we can take a look at its topology. When we select a vertex and press the Del key, the view automatically centers and zooms in on it. We can also change the selection mode to choose between vertices, edges, or faces. For example, by switching to Edge Select, we can pick an edge, and in Face Select mode, we can select a whole face. Now, to give our ring some depth, we'll need to select all the inner faces. Expanding the selection manually with Shift and click would take too long, so here's a faster way. If we hold Alt and click on the right or left side of a face, we perform a loop select. This selects an entire row of faces around the model. The same shortcut works for vertices and edges that form loops. With the inner faces selected, press E to extrude them. Extruding creates new faces connected to the existing geometry. As you move your mouse, you can see the new faces extending from the surface. Press Escape to confirm the extrusion and leave the new faces in their current position. Now press S to scale the extruded faces. As you move the mouse, the inner faces will scale inward, forming a ring with thickness. You can also enter a precise value. For example, pressing S, then typing 0.5, will scale the inner faces to half the size of the outer ones. But scaling by a factor isn't exactly what we want, so let's press Escape to cancel that action. Now, if we hold the Alt key and then press S, we can move the faces along their normals. That means they'll move perfectly perpendicular to the surface. Let's enter -0.01 meters, and you'll see the selected faces move inward exactly 1 centimeter, giving us the precise thickness we want for the metal part of the light. With the inner faces selected, press E to extrude. Then press Escape to cancel the movement. This keeps the new faces in their original position, forming the light area of the ring. Next, hold Alt and press S to activate the Shrink Fatten tool. Enter a value of 0.05 to set the thickness of the light section to half a centimeter. Now, We've precisely modeled both rings, the metal and the light parts. Don't miss the next video. We'll be making another ring using a completely different technique. Thanks for watching. See you next time.